What's that, Skip? Shauno's talking about Supercoach again. Let's go. G'day everybody, it's Shauno again, and I'm back with some more Supercoach content. Today we're going to be doing our Round 7 Trades and Captains video. In this video, I'll go through what I'm doing for my trades and my captains, and we'll also go through what's best for the community out there for their trades and their captains. Before we get on with it, please sub to the channel. Thank you so much for all your support so far. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers, so please go ahead and sub now. If you like the video, please like the video and leave me a comment down below and tell me what are you doing this week. So one more thing, don't forget to join my Discord, and if you pop your team in the post my team here section, we'll put it up on the screen and we'll have a chat about it when we do the Thursday live video. All right, let's get into it, crew. So this is not my team. This is my team here. And I think I've already done the trade, so I think we're going to make it nice and quick. This is what I'm thinking about doing this week. So we're getting rid of Sarong, who seems to peak at his money. He's got a break even of 64. And that big score of the 124 is going to drop out of his points. So he 126, that's going to drop out of his scoring this week, after this week, and then his money has literally dried up if he keeps getting 70. So it's time for him to go for me. Then we're going to get, so Robertson injured and Myers injured. If you watch my my round review video, you'll see the massive rant that I had about Geelong and their dodgy injury practices where they don't let us know to the last minute and or what's actually going on. And they're doing it again where Myers is listed as TBC to let us know. And yes, and if we have a quick look here, it says he could be considering surgery. He's out for 1 week. We're not too sure how much more. This is their exact wordings. Myers will miss at least another week and likely longer as the club investigates the best treatment for his knee injury. They're not even got the kahunas to come out and say, it was reported that it was a mild ACL. Is it an ACL or isn't it an ACL? I mean, come on, give us a break. Let us know. So best treatment for his knee injury with surgery not completely out of the question, as reported by AFL.com. So potentially surgery, potentially not, potentially a couple of weeks. Yeah, who knows? So thanks very much for that extremely blurry report, Geelong. So I guess I have to trade him. If he does go in for surgery, God knows how long he'll be out, but it sounds like he's going to be out a while. But knowing my luck, he'll probably come back next week. Anyway, so 2 injuries and a fat rookie out for Angry Anderson in, Whitfield in, and Clark in. We were going to boost our forward line, considering someone like, if we go down the team, a Touk Miller. But Touk Miller has got a fairly high break even. And so I think, according to my plans, so my cunning plan, as we say, is that if Touk Miller fails to reach this 132 break even, which he's been averaging around 100 so far. So I think the likelihood is they're saying if he gets 102, he'll drop 13K. There you go. I think you guys and girls can see that now. So if he does that, and my players like Grill and Smith don't go up or don't go down, they hold their value or go up a little bit, I should almost be able to go a straight 1 up, 1 down to potentially Rashenko next week from one of those guys, and then from the other one go up to a Touk Miller. I had all these dreams about having a completed midfield, but with the Myers injury, we'll still have to field 1 rookie. But then my back line, as you can see, looks a lot stronger than what I did with Sinclair, Whitfield, Clark, Dacos, Houston, and Lindsay. Now, I'll make my apologies now. Anybody who already has Whitfield and Clark, obviously they're going to shit the bed this week because Shauno is getting them in, and that's what happens every time he gets in a player. Just like Josh Dacos over here, who, since the day I got him in, I believe I got him in round in round 4, and he's given me a 94, a 95, and a 74. So not exactly what Shauno was looking for, or me either. So anyway, crew, that's what I'm thinking about for my trades. There we go again. The only other one that I was a bit considering we'll get onto in the next section. So what about you guys? What's best for you out there in the community in regards to trades this week? Well, let's go over to the players section and look at firstly for the rookies and the cash cow. So people who are on the bubble, who play less than 3 games, probably the number one pick is the Angus Anderson. I think for this week, he's at that bargain basement price of 113,500. He's got a low break even of negative 75. And he showed us in the first week, I believe he scored a 80 in the first week. So a 79, a 64, and he looks pretty good. And Collingwood kind of looks like they are better with him in the team. He looks like a tough, strong man around the ball. So hopefully they keep him in. And so he is my number one pick. Number 2, this is the other one that I was considering. If I wasn't going to go, if I wanted to go 2 rookies down and make some money, Elijah Sardis. Now, for me, it wasn't the pick for me, even though I'm still mildly considering it just because I wanted to bolster my team up. But plus, I've made so many trades so far. This would pretty much mean I would boost this week and potentially boost again next week. Even though I'm boosting this week, I kind of hope that I don't have to boost again next week. But I think he's got potential to make money. If he only has to stay in this role for a couple more weeks to make you money. Plus, he's got a few decent scores so far, so maybe he's a fieldable option with a 82 and 101. The only issues or worries that I would have is that they get some players back. They get, if we look at the injury list, excuse me, they've got Mason Redmond, who plays in the back line, due back in 2 to 3 weeks. And that means that Merritt, who played a little bit more in the back line last week, might play more midfield, might mean less time on ground for him. And we saw what happened with his time on ground last year. If he gets low time on ground, it means his score is reduced. But I still think he's a good choice. That's 2 to 3 weeks away. So he only really has to play for a couple of weeks and get you like 70s and you'll make 100,000. So I do think it's a viable pick. And I do think if he stays in that role, you can have him. He's probably a little bit more reliable to have on your field than some of the other picks, maybe like the Grills or even the Jagger Smith in his current role. So I do like him. I just can't get him into my team. Gulbin, if that's how you say it, I probably wouldn't go there. He dropped a 30 this week. So he had a decent first round score and then got a 30 something. So I probably wouldn't go there. If you need a ruck, a really rookie cheap ruck, I can understand going Samson Ryan. But again, I'm not completely sold on it. Let's have a look at his scoring. A 46 and an 86. Well, at least that 86 will be in his scoring rotation for a few rounds. So even if he comes out and gets 54, they're saying if we give him a little bit better than that, say we gave him a 65 for the next few weeks, he would make you, a good 300. We can't score of 300. That'd be a good round. Let's try that. 65s. Yep. So now we're looking at about 100k there. So I think that's a reasonable option if you needed a ruck downgrade for some reason. Then for the rest of them, Nicholas Madden, I don't think I'd go there. He's potentially not going to make you enough money. At least if you had to do the ruck option, I'd go for the Samson Ryan. I think it's a little bit more. He might not score as much, but you're not getting them for their score. You're not getting them to keep them in your team. You're getting them to make you money if you're getting one of these guys. And so that's, I think he's the better likelihood of making you that money that you want and faster. Arthur Jones won't play this week, but maybe next week. So he's also a downgrade option. Potentially we can grab next week along with the Rishenko fella. I don't think there's anyone else there really worth talking about. I wouldn't be going Bailey Williams. Yep, I really don't think there's too many other rookies out there for this week. Like we said, the week after, though, you might want to be keeping an eye on Patrick Rashenko and I think Arthur Jones. Those two young gentlemen should probably be our targets next week. If you don't get Sardis this week, you probably won't get him. So if you like him, I would get him. If I didn't have the injury issues that I had, if I still had Myers as a primo, I would probably be getting him this week. So I definitely think it's a reasonable play. All right, so let's go into what happens if you need a defender this week. The defenders, so Luke Parker is killing it, and I think he's become a viable option now. I mean, the only thing is Clarko does love to swap and change his players around a lot. So if he was to do that, it'd be a disaster. The player, that's the only issue I see with it. In the current role, he's scoring very well. If the role changes, could that be a problem? But from all signs, the role looks like it's going to stay. So if you wanted to pick him at 550 as the number one defender so far this year, I think that's a pretty good price and a pretty good deal. Jack Sinclair's gone down. So as he got his break even, like his break even is at 143. So if you wait another week, if you don't already have him, you could definitely pick him up for, probably around 550. Callum Wilkie is certainly putting his name up to be a pick. Yes, Callum Wilkie is doing very well. So at 560, I don't know if I could go there, but I totally understand if you could. Archie Roberts still plugging along nicely. They did change their game plan a little bit last week, and they even spoke about it, that it wasn't the kick around as much as what it was going to be the last couple of weeks before, and he still got 100. So, and also Zach Merritt moved back, played a bit in the back line, so maybe that took some of his score away, but the fact that he still got 100, I think, is a good sign, and I think at 550, he is still a decent pick. Lockie Ash, I believe, has a high break even of 147, so if he's somebody that you would like, he was on fire earlier on the season. Tape it off a little bit now, but you can probably get him around 550 next week. Josh Worrell at 507k also has quite a large break even of 129. I think this is a good pick, but I think the only thing I'd want to worry a little bit about, if you look at the injury list, is that you're picking for the season and you've got Hinge, which is out for a couple of weeks, and now he doesn't seem to affect his score too much, but Mark Keane due back in 4 to 6 weeks. So he took most of the kick-ins last year. Now, the good thing with Worrell, he doesn't just need kick-ins to score. He does get a lot of intercept marks and, moves the ball up the ground a bit. So I think you'll probably still be all right. Just one of those things to be aware of. Now, I think if he goes down to under 500,000, I think he's going to be a bit of a bargain and pretty much hard to ignore for people like myself who don't have him. But yeah, just remember, if you are interested, you could potentially pick him up next week even cheaper, or you can jump on this week at 507. He's probably the cheapest out of the potential premium options we have. Now, Jordan Clark, we were hoping that maybe he didn't get this big a score. At 524, I still think he's good value. Yes, he's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. He's got the break even there of 61. So this is probably the cheapest you'll get him, you will think. So they say it's been a roller coaster ride, but he's really only had these 2 bad scores. And if his low score is 75, you'd probably live with it if he's bottom end of scores. But he got this 52 here, which is a bit disappointing. But besides that, 119, 129, 106, 146, and he's shown he can go a little bit, got a reasonably high ceiling, which he didn't really show last year. So there are good things. Do take into account, this will probably be his highest score of season. It was against West Coast. Every player's West Coast score seems to be the highest score of the season. But I'm still thinking at 524, he's a bit of a bargain. And I'm prepared to get myself on that roller coaster and lock myself into it. Whitfield, you don't have to get Whitfield this week. He's got 115 break even. That's exactly what he scored last week. So he's probably not going to go up or down too much. So if you wanted another look at him, you can jump on him next week. Same as though he's probably not going to go down too much. So if he's the player you want, a bit like me, I don't see any problem with jumping on him this week. Wayne Malera has been scoring very well, but he showed he also has a low floor, and he depends more on the kick-ins, I think, than someone like the Worrell. And so he'd be less in my targets to go for. Josh Dacos, I hope he starts performing a little bit better. 133, if you like what you see, you might be able to jump on him for less than 500 next week. Being an owner so far, I don't know if I'd advise that or not. Nick Blakey, 128 at 520. I think that's reasonable. No, I wouldn't advise anyone getting James Short. Sicily, I believe he's suspended, as he always does every year. So that's why we don't pick Sicily most years, because he loves to get suspended. Nasai Wanganeen Malira, you've got a 128 break even, so we could potentially be getting him for less than 550 next week if he is somebody that you're still interested in. He's showing that he is very susceptible to the tag, and at the moment he's the 15th highest out of all the defenders. So, is he going to be right up there at the end of the season? I'm not too sure. I think, do they play West Coast this week? So he plays West Coast this week. So if you were going to get him, this week's probably not too bad, because he'll probably have his highest score of the season. As for other defenders, I don't think there's too many else out there I would really think about, talk about. A sneaky Tom McCarthy. If Tom McCarthy he went back and played back a little bit last week. If he was to keep that role, we know he scores very well there, probably better than as he does as a defender. So I would think that could be an option, but I probably think it's a little bit risky, as he could be moved around a lot. Okay, so that is defenders. What about if you are in the market for a midfielder? So Bailey Smith, 678. He's scoring the most, but he's probably too expensive. Same with Butters, probably too expensive. With these midfielders, I mean, I think with all of us, we should be looking at kind of the value picks now. This is not the time to pay up over 600k. And as we've seen with Labont and with Gorn, that there's a good chance any player can come down. And so buying them at these extravagant amounts is just going to really hamper your team in the long run, which a few of us, like myself, have done with both of those guys. Max Holmes, 615. I would really like this guy on my team, but even then, I think he's very expensive, but he's not going to doesn't look like he's going to come down anytime soon, but we're just going to have to wait, and hopefully he does a Bont or Gorn and comes down at some stage. Now, here's one I kind of like the look of. Zach Merritt. If you're going to get him, you've got to probably do it this week with a break even of 73 and 580. He's showing that, this is when he played a little bit back last week. He got a 150. But even if he doesn't play back in the midfield, we know what he's capable of. He's got a floor score of 87 this year, and he's got a 139, 107, 116, 127, 150. So I really think he is a very viable choice for a midfielder this week, and I think he's got a good buy, and so I think that's probably where I was looking. Out of a couple of players, I was definitely pretty interested in Merritt, but I decided to go for the cheaper defenders in the end. Marcus Bontempelli has one of the biggest break-evens I've ever seen at 238, and all you lovely people who are smarter than me who decided to fade him or just not get him when everyone else was jumping on the bandwagon like I was, you're probably going to get him at maybe even 550k. Let's see if he comes out, and he might not even play this week. That's no guarantee. So even if he gets to 120 every week, he'll go down to about 580, which is an absolute bargain for Bontempelli, almost saving yourself 120k from his starting price. LDU is still killing it every week. I think every week we're we're not too sure, but I think he stuck his hand up and said, if you pick me, I'm going to be pretty good to you. So, I think LDU at 580 now. Would have preferred to get him at 520 at the beginning of the season, but I still think he's an okay pick. Who else have we got? Jack Steele, I still don't think I would be going there now. I think the ship, even a bit like LDU, the ships might have sailed on them, but maybe not. I know there are some people looking at Clayton Oliver. I don't know if I can endorse getting Clayton Oliver myself, but GWS have a good buy, and he's done he's done well. It's certainly not the Clayton Oliver role, but he's done very well. He's got, one low score under 169, and then besides that, it's 121, 117, 111, 108, 128. So lot better than some of the midfielders that I've got in my team. I'm looking at you, Noah Anderson or Sam Walsh. So couldn't blame you if you decided to go there. And he is very affordable at 537. This is the week probably to get him though with a break even of 86. Lockie Neal is just been plugging along doing Lockie Neal things at 548 every week. I say he's still reasonably priced. I think he is still reasonably priced if you're looking for that, around 550 or less player. Caleb Sarong, again, is also reasonably priced. Let's have a look. Break even of 85 on Lockie Neal, so this could be the week to get him. Caleb Sarong has a break even of 154, so we could potentially get him around 500k if you trust him. There's a lot of questions about the Freo midfield in regards to Supercoach scoring. They're pretty awesome when we see them out in the field, but as to who's going to be the biggest Supercoach scorer and if they're stealing points of each other, just look at what's happening to Brayshaw after last year. So I don't know if I can endorse getting Caleb Sarong, but we certainly know he does have a high ceiling with a potential. I believe he's got a 150 and a 130 so far this year. He's got a 150, he's got a 135, but he's also got a 68 and a 73. So bit of a roller coaster ride, but he could be very cheap. And with the amount of trades we used, people like me might have to jump on some of these cheaper players. Nick Dacos, 630 is a gun. And I mean, again, don't really want to be paying over 600k. He'll probably come down. The other one I really like is a Finn Callahan. So a break even of 139. So probably a good idea to wait till next week. He did get a tag last week, as we suspected he might. The James Jordan tag, I believe. And but if he gets 113 this week, he goes down 10. We could potentially pick him up for 550 or less next week. So I think he's one to keep our eyes on if you're looking at a midfielder for next week. Who else? I don't think there's too many others. Don't forget, we only really want to get the primos into our team. Ed Richards is a sneaky one, I think, as well. 550 on the dot. He's got 102, 109 on a 144 and a couple of 90s. So nice high floor scores and one ceiling score. So, he could be one that you'd be looking to grab. Don't forget, crew, to keep an eye on the buys at this time of year and make sure you probably don't have more than 5 primos out for any one buy. So before you lock these players into your team, just click on that buy button and make sure that you don't have like 6 or 7 players out for that buy, because that could be, if you've already got, if you kept English and you got Bont and you got Richards and you got Bailey Smith or something, that round 16 buy could be a problem. So you just keep your eyes on that. I don't think there's anyone else out in there that I would be interested in or recommending to you guys of the community. For Rucks, well, there's the big obvious one is Gorney. Has a break even of 185 and he will come down. So if you're still interested in Gorn, you're probably going to get him around 650 in a couple of weeks' time, unless he has a couple of huge matches. I'm not too sure. I'm interested to know what you guys think in the comments down below. I haven't heard too many other content creators talk about it. Max Heath was in the team who plays the second ruck and he got 100. Was it just the fact that he was playing against Brisbane and Brisbane are quite restrictive against rucks? Or was it the fact that Max Heath was in the team as well, which took away a few hit outs and a bit less centre bounce attendances for Max Gawn? So I think you'll still be all right. Just look at what Luke Jackson, every week I say I'm not sure about Luke Jackson, as I could say now, because Mason Cox or Sean Darcy's playing with him and he seems to smack out a 120 every single week. So with that in mind, I think he should be okay and still very viable for one of the top 2 rucks of the season. Brodie Grundy at 698, break even at 150. Again, probably too expensive to go there. Wait for him to come down if you want him as well. Luke Jackson, he's still at 610. He's been at around 600k the entire season, and he seems to get 120 pretty much every week. So I could definitely understand if you guys go there. I think he might not be the highest average, but he certainly seems to be the most consistent. Yep, so he's gone below 113 once, and that was a 108. So every other one has been a minimum 120. So pretty consistent. And if you had got him at the beginning of the season, I think you'd be pretty happy. As for other rucks, I don't think I would be picking any of them. Still, if Team English has got a break even of 158, so if you still like English, which I do as well, you'd wait for him to come back and play a game or two, and you'd probably get him at around 520. So if you need a second primo ruck, you might be getting Tim English between about 500 and 550 in a few weeks after he comes back. I think some people were talking about Todd Marshall playing in the forward line because De Koning is coming out, is injured, but it doesn't look like De Koning is injured long term. This is more of a forward line chat because you wouldn't be buying Marshall for your ruck line, but you could definitely be getting him for your forward if we thought De Koning would be out. But I think De Koning is even a test. He's a back and he's a test this week. So De Koning has recovered better than first thought and remains a chance to play this week. So if you're going to do the Marshall move, you probably want him out for at least 4 weeks to get good scores and good money. So I think that is not an option anymore. And Tristan Sherry comes back and plays this week after his suspension, has a break even of 141. It will be interesting to see how he goes. And if he starts just belting out big scores again, then he can be right in our calculations for one of those top 4 rucks. I still think it's Gawn, Jackson, Grundy, and Sherry. I still think they're the men, and I still think we're going to need at least 2 of them, potentially 3 by the end of the season. All right, that's rucks. Let's go through to our forwards now. Harry Sheasel, hopefully we've all got him. Let's move on. Kasai Pickett, it's gone up a little bit in price, but I think it's still okay at 540. I think I like to try and get my forwards a little bit cheaper. I think I paid 520 for him, which is the most I'd like to pay. But if you like him, I totally understand why you would grab him. Justin McInerney, just plodding along doing things. We're not going to go any key forwards. I don't care how well they're doing. They always let you down, just like a Josh Tracy did. Was it just this week? I mean, 89 is not exactly a letdown, but a 66 the week before, that's what key forwards do, and that's why we don't pick them. So mid forward status, yep, 96. I could definitely, decent buy. I could definitely go there. Jack Ross, I don't think I would be. This is a flash in the pants. Jason Horne-Francis, he's injury prone, but I think we have to actually take a look at him now. He burnt me last year, so I'm not the biggest fan. But, he got bad start, then he got a 147, 75, 85, 88, 119. And what's his break even? His break even is at 81. So you can pick him up now for 480 if you were game. If you think he could recapture that form of last year, you'd be a good pick. I'm just not sure I think he's going to be another one of those roller coaster men. Rochelle, again, 460k now. He has gone up. I would prefer if you had picked him up when he was a bit cheaper. I don't know if he's going to push for a top 6 forward. I still worry about the CBA time between him and Rankinene and who's going to get the most, especially come the end of the season. But I think he's a reasonable pick if you want someone in that slightly cheaper side of things. So none of these guys, I don't think I'd be considering Chad Warner, not after last year's performance. He's going to be another up and down guy. Christian Petrarca, I got him last week, but if you didn't get him last week, like we kind of advised that you wouldn't, he will go down now unless he has a massive score because he's got a 150 break even. So I'd hold off this week and you might get him from around 550 if you like. If he comes out, scores a 110 or a 115, you're probably going to get him around 550. So that'll be a nice little discount for you guys as well. Just another lesson in why we don't pay up or go early. Zach Bailey at 503. After we all said we love what he's doing, he came out and got a 52. He's going to be, I think, like the Rochelle's and the not the Cam McKenzie's, the Connor McDonald's of the world, they're going to give you these low scores. And so any of those guys, you're going to have to expect they're going to give you these low scores occasionally. Hopefully not too often, but I assume he's got a big break even now. 119. So maybe you could have a wait, and maybe he'll go back down to about 480 or 490, which is very close to where he started the season at. I don't think there's too many others I'd be considering. Those that went Team Kelly, I have to say I did warn you. He came out and got a 72. Where is the man? Here he is. So here's the man that I considered this week, but with a break even of 132, he could come down to close to 500k. And I certainly think that he's going to be the most dependable behind Petrarca, Sheasel. If I was to predict now who I think the top 6 forwards were going to be, I'd say Sheasel, Petrarca, Miller, Pickett, and then you could throw a blanket over who's going to be the other 2. Like it could be McInerney, it could be Jason Horne-Francis. I'd say one of these mid guys is going to be the guy. That's who I would guess. I think those top 4 though are very safe. Those 4 that I said, the Sheasel, Pickett, Miller, and Petrarca are going to be in the top 6. So try and pick them up when they have, when they bottom out in price. So Tuke Miller and both Petrarca. I think Tuke Miller will probably bottom out next week, if maybe the week after, and Petrarca is probably 2 weeks' time, 1 or 2 weeks' time, depending on how he scores. So I think they are your forward options. So I think that is all the ones that I think are relevant. If I've missed anyone, leave them down in chat down below what you are thinking. I know there are a few. We did talk about the Rowan Marshall and like the Cam Zerha picks, but I don't know if I would be going there at the moment. If you're going to get a rookie, make sure they're, a cheap. If you want to make money, probably still better to go a rookie this time of year. Even if it's the more expensive one like Sardis, I still like that more than someone like a Cam Zerha. Is that how you spell it? How do you spell it? Z-U-R. So who came out, smacked a 140 because he played that lovely role, and which every player who seems to play that role at North Melbourne, that behind the ball cleaning up, seems to score massively. Just look at how Luke Parker is doing. Yeah, but I don't know if I would trust this. I definitely wouldn't get it. As we said, the coach down there loves to throw people around, which is the same reason why I would definitely not be recommending McKercher now for the back line. We've seen that don't matter what the coach says, they're going to play him all over the place. So don't take that risk. And like the only one I think, it looks like Luke Parker has cemented his position there, but still cannot be trusted. But okay, so I think that's it for Trades Crew. Like I said, if I've missed anybody, leave me a comment down below or hit me up on Discord and let me know what you think. Again, these are my trades, and we're going to have a look now for captain and vice captain options. So early on games, we got Bulldogs versus Sydney. Well, with Bont potentially not even playing or coming back from that knock and the tag, I think I would skip Bont, but I would definitely think about Grundy. If you've got Grundy, I would definitely think about it. If English is not back, maybe not. But if English is not back, I think Grundy has to be your vice captain if you've got him. Playing against just a nobody ruck, I think he will dominate and get a decent score. Then the next game you have Richmond and Melbourne. So as I'm doing here, I'm going to go Gawn as my vice captain against Richmond and Samson Ryan as the ruck. I think even with playing the dual ruck setup with Max Heath, I think he can still score well. And I think he's a sneaky chance of getting a big score. So if I had Grundy, I'd be going Grundy out of the 2. But since I don't have Grundy, we'll give Gawn a go. Then you've got GWS and Hawthorn. I don't like anyone from this game. Hawthorn are a tough team. I wouldn't be going Petrarca or Rowell if you had him or anything like that. I think I'd just let this one go by. The next team, you have Collingwood versus Essendon, and this is where I'll probably try my captain. If Gawn fails, I'll probably go with Dacos as my captain. He is someone you can use as a vice captain as well if there's someone we like in the later games. So in the afternoon, you've got Geelong versus Port. So even as probably these you're getting to the points in the afternoon, this is going to be your captain choices. Maybe you've gone Gawn or Grundy as your vice captain and they haven't worked out. Butters, Bailey Smith, and Holmes, I guess, are all valid choices. You'd assume that Geelong probably going to win this game, even though it's at Adelaide Oval with Port's current form. Not that I'm doing very good at tipping, so don't tip just because I said that. So I think that they are all reasonable options as well. I mean, Bailey Smith's killing it. Why wouldn't you give him a go? And then after that, you got Freo versus Carlton. I believe Pitnet is out, so maybe a sneaky Luke Jackson is also a very valid pick for a captain. Let's just check that. I remember hearing that Pitnet is Fremantle, Essendon, Collingwood, and Carlton. Mark Pitnet hand 1 to 2 weeks. So, yep, I think it's a valid pick for Luke Jackson then as well. But as we said, he seems very consistent around 120. So that's what I would expect from him in that matchup. Unless they play Liam Reedy, where he'll probably get 2 million. Then you've got the Saints versus West Coast. If you had a lot of cojones, maybe you could pick either Sinclair or Nas for your captain. There's a good chance that Nas, if he's going to beat up on any team, it's probably going to be the West Coast. So if you are kind of a risk the way things have been going, but if you really wanted to take a risk and go for a big score, one of those boys could be the way to go. And the last game, Brisbane versus Adelaide, I don't think I would be picking anybody out of those teams as a fairly safe captain. I think, I can't think of anyone who I would like to make my captain out of those teams. All right, crew. So hopefully that helped you out. Once again, if you haven't already subbed to the channel, please do that. Love the support. Really helps me out. Like the video and let me know down below in the comments what you're doing this week. I will leave a link for my Discord so you can join my Discord. And then when we do our Thursday video where we go through everyone's team and have a chat about what everyone out there in the community is doing. And also I'll tell you what my final trades and captain choices are for my team. That would be great. So hope everybody has an awesome week and I will talk to you all again very soon. Take it away, Skip.